right. Okay, so we're in our second week, and I want to take you through some journal prompting that we're going to do today. And it's going to be some prompts that I really want you to consider diving deep into, because I believe that I've worked through these prompts myself, and I just feel like they hold so many golden nuggets for us to work through any of our, as Tiffany would know, because she does shadow work, working in those shadows. So we're going to dive into this. And Tiff, I'm loving that you're going to do this with us too, because being the facilitator oftentimes is so different than doing it, yourself. So
Oh
this
yeah.
time to be in the moment and not have to worry about facilitating. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, but before we start, let's just, so I'm not sure, Cece's not here, I'm not sure. I didn't hear from her. I know that Jeanette has something today, so she's not going to be with us. And then Renetta is working, right? So if anybody else, that's it, right? That's our group.
I think that's everybody for deepening. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So let's start off by maybe let's talk a little bit, if you have anything to say, about anything that, well, let's first say this. Let's just say that for all the women that are not here, that we are holding you in the circle with us. And that when you listen to the replay, just know that your energy is with us, and that we're thinking about you with whatever it is that you have going on today. We're holding you close to our heart. Okay, now let's go ahead and just start talking maybe a little bit about anything that came up for you this week with what we worked on last week. Either
You
one.
want to go? We're looking at each other.
You can totally go first.
Okay.
I ramble, so.
Oh God, I ramble a lot. So for me, the last time when we spoke, you mentioned, Nicole, that horse is sort of a symbol of freedom and seeking freedom. And since we spoke, I've been seeing that word freedom everywhere. I'm opening an email thinking this email will be about freedom, even if the subject has nothing to do with that. But
wild, I love that.
so that has come for me as a thought quite a lot. And the other theme that has been developing, even before we started the deepening, you mentioned in one of your sessions at the sanctuary about the goddess and how we need to be aware of. So since then I got Hecate, the goddess. So this is the guide that came at the last session when we did the meditation. And previously at my altar I had all sorts of other things, but
I wore her today.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, I'm just getting goosebumps and everything.
I have so many to choose from. And today I put her on my charm.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? We can't make this up.
Oof. So yes, that has been, is just on the altar is her and a candle.
It's those crossroads.
Yeah, yes.
I feel like I just have to say this really fast. Like the spirit is so like slapping you right now. Like,
Oh my God.
you're so ready. All these signs for you are just like completely just falling into like, here it is. It's so amazing.
It is, Tiff. And what's so amazing too is that this is such the beginning, and this is what it's such a testament for all of us. So you saying this is really helping all of us to witness something, and the witnessing in each other. And that's what makes group work so dynamic, is that witnessing this in you is opening it up for other women to know that they're not alone, and that what they feel is truth, even if there's no rational reasoning behind it. And not only that, Petra, I want to say that, when we began to, you took the symbol of a horse
Yeah.
On the love of horse. And you decided to resonate with the word freedom from that symbol. And then you opened a neural pathway in your brain, literally, that opened to this prospect that freedom is everywhere
Mm.
and that you can see freedom, feel freedom, experience freedom. It's all around you. And you've been triggered. You've seen it. You've seen the words. You know what the email is going to say, and it's all coming to you. And, you know, Betsy would say that's also this form of manifestation. But even when we feel into manifestation, it is exactly what you're describing. It's having an experience, feeling the feeling, looking outward for that feeling, and the representation is in a word. And then you start to feel the excitement of the experience of what you're feeling. And then this is what opens up your worlds like bright-eyed to the spirit world,
Mm.
because they're like, okay, hold on, she's impressionable.
Mm.
I don't think I've ever said that word either. And I don't know that I've ever heard a mentor say that, but that's the word. Like, you become impressionable. They're able to make an impression on you because you're opening up your mind, and you're sort of like, just now you did this. You went, hmm. You kind of like looked around a little bit with your eyes
Yes.
to the side. And that's what mediums do. Hmm. Because you're like, I'm feeling some things as she's saying this. And that's what we do. So, congratulations. It's a first step and it's beautiful. I
I love you both.
love that. Tiffany, what's going on with you?
Uh, to be honest, I've been crazy focused on other things too, in addition to doing this. And so I attempted, I'm gonna say attempted, um, to meditate the other day. And I don't know what it is yet. I haven't, of course, my brain is getting in the way, but I keep getting this black eye, and it's not scary. So like when I'm trying to meditate, I keep getting this, like almost like they're checking me out, like, is she who she thinks she is? Like, but it's and I'm gonna describe it as it's like a very seductive, sexy black eye. Like you can see it's like almost Egyptian
Okay.
style. But it's interesting because I've been reading about all the goddesses. I actually just ordered a book on all of the goddesses, not just dark ones. And prior to me refiguring my business structure, I actually was going to do a 5-day dark goddess kind of training thing, and Hecate was in it as well. But it so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm getting, and I'm not sure if I'm just, of course, probably overanalyzing the life out of it. Um, but it's like things are starting to actually fall into place. So I'm not sure.
So, here's the beauty of it, too. You don't have to be sure,
I know.
and you don't have to know. I know we want to know,
Arguing it.
have to know, but here's the thing, too, is that I want you to also realize this. A lot of times when we are in meditation or we are in a place of like quieting our mind and we're getting impressions, normally, like the majority of the time, they are impressions of what we are surrounding ourselves with at the moment, because our brain hasn't allowed that to be released to go into a really deep state of consciousness, right? Like a deep state of meditation. So what the impressions that you receive going through just light meditations like we go through, I believe, even though they can be somewhat um sort of superficial, meaning like what's going on in the world around you, it it's still relevant and very intentional in the way that even though you're quieting your brain enough and you're still focusing in on that one thing that's coming into you, I always look at that from a perspective of, okay, this is what my soul is calling me forward to dive into. Okay, so then you exhibit, the black eye that is very Egyptian, and you're into the goddesses and you're moving in that direction. So look at that as a sign that this is the direction. So allow everything to unfold in that space. Don't hold tight to it or form any type of restraints or time restraints around it. Just let that happen on its own, and then work your work and just let that happen. But don't force it. So that's just how we sort of interpret the difference between, what we receive and we can't understand, until what we receive and it's like, hold on, I know what this means. So that's where I would say to go with that. How's that
Yeah,
sound?
that sounds good. Because I think I still think I have a little bit of fear going that deep because I don't actually, I was talking to Chanel just the other minute ago about, like some past traumas. She's very similar to me. It's kind of scary. It's actually very scary. She's very similar. But it was interesting too, because this past week there has been like stories coming up that are like, oh my God, I didn't even like I haven't thought about this. Like this isn't something I was thinking to work on.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like all these like past little tiny triggers are coming up that so I don't know. I still think I have that like, whoop, don't go there yet.
It's totally understandable. A lot of people, like when I would tell my mentors, they're like, okay, in your meditation, I'm like, I'm not meditating. And they're like, no, you have to meditate. I was like, I don't have to do anything. I was like, hell no, I am not going there because I don't want to go back. I
Right.
don't want to dive into triggers. I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to think about that moment. I have put that behind me, right? And I kept believing that that was the truth for me. I was like, I'm not doing it. And then I realized a few things. I didn't have to go through all the trauma to be a medium. I could simply not have to meditate and go into myself. I can meditate and go into a space that's other than me, right? Um, and I could also, but I will say this, one of the girls that are here, Jess Gandolfo, she's a therapist and she does EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So it's called EMDR, and they use it on trauma, people who've really been through severe trauma. And of course, that can mean anything, but it's been really significant with veterans, right, who have really gone through a lot of significant trauma, and also something called neurofeedback. Well, I don't like neurofeedback because you have to attach electrodes to your brain, and I'm like, I don't want anybody messing with my brain. Okay, number one. But number two, the EMDR. So she was in my office one day, and she's just right down the hall, and she stops and starts talking, and I'm like, so tell me about this EMDR. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to do it. And she's like, no, let's just do it. Think of a situation in your life that you, like a trauma that you never want to relive again or that you want to go through. And I'm like, all right, Jess, I'll do it. So I sat there and I did it with her. We did it literally for 5 minutes. And it was just about moving your eyes with this, with sort of like with a rhythm while she's talking about you releasing the trauma. You're not even talking about the trauma. You're just simply, it's in your mind and you're like, and what you're doing is it's kind of like re-scrambling your brain. And then you come up and you say, and then she says, okay, now I want you to think of something completely opposite, just like the most beautiful feeling, emotion, thing, just something completely opposite of this trauma. And I'm like, okay, think of the opposite. She's doing the whole brain thing. We're moving my eyes. And then she's like, okay, we're done. And I'm like, that was like 10 minutes. And she's like, I know, we're done. And she says, think of the trauma. And I was like, okay, hold on. Okay. And I'm like, wait. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, it's not eliciting any feeling. She's like, yeah, because it's gone.
That's awesome.
That's the power of the brain. So I want you to always remember that that is the power of the brain. So even while we're going through these moments of like, I'm going through meditation, but Tiffany's like, I don't want to go on the other side, and a lot of us can feel that way. The thing is that you don't have to go into the depths to breathe new life into your life. You don't have to bring all of that up all of the time, right? So just remember that in your mind. Doesn't have to be. So when we make choices to go deep, you can choose to go deep if you're feeling a prompt. Like you're like, oh, I want to work through this. But you don't have to go deep if you don't want to go deep. Okay. All right. So I know that you both know this, but I'm just going to say it again, that there is a difference between change and transformation, right? Change is just like, you know, making a choice. Oh, I'm going to change. And a lot of times change has to do with other people's opinions of you, right? It has to do with like who other people think that you should be. And then you're like, oh, I feel like I need to change. You yourself as a human being never like you never feel like you need to change. We use the word change, but what you're really are dying or like dying into is more of a transformation. So remember that you're not here to change. We're not here to change the way that we think, and we're not here to change anyone else. We're not here to change because of anyone else. That we're going through this unique, beautiful transformation, and this is going to elicit like the next steps that you're heading into because you're not changing anything about yourself. People would always say to me, you've changed. I'm like, I've transformed. Like, I've not changed. I'm still the same person. I have just transformed my way of being that they don't understand. And so they can only see it as change. So remember the difference between change and transformation. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our journals out and close our eyes when you're ready. And we're just going to take some deep breaths. And Petra, have you ever heard of the term core desired feelings? Core desired feelings.
No.
Okay. Tiffany, you have?
What?
Have you ever heard the term core desired feelings?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
So there's this woman, her name is Danielle Laporte, and she came up with this sort of like coined the phrase core desired feelings. Okay. And what that means is that if we were to have, it's like choosing the desired feelings that you want to bring into your life at any given moment. But you already have chosen these core desired feelings that you want to feel. And so therefore it's simply a grab and go. It's like a grab and go. Okay. So core desired feelings would be like this. If I gave you a list of 100 different feelings, okay, and they were like brilliant, badass, um, free, whole, soul filled, joyful, spirit led. You get the gist? Like it's these just one words, right? And you would take this, and I did this a lot when I was developing. I would take this and I would choose my core desired feelings. So today, let's say you're going to choose 5 core desired feelings that you want to feel. And then for the next week, you will pick these core desired feelings. So you will say, okay, today I'm going to experience freedom. And so throughout the day, you're operating with the word freedom. It's like you have the word freedom stamped on your hand. I used to literally write it on my hand here. I would write my word for the day. so that I wouldn't forget what it is that I'm allowing my body to feel and to move into or transform itself into. And the more we do this, the more in tune we get with how we're showing up in our world, right? And we're showing up with intention. Because if I said to you, hey, girls, for the rest of the week, I want you to show up with intention throughout the day, like you're going to show up with intention. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what does that even mean? If I said to you, Petra, you're going to show up with intention, what does that mean?
I'll be totally lost. I'll be looking at that empty wall.
Right? Because we think that we're showing up with intention every day because we have like tasks to do. We have kids to take care of. Like, we're like, no, I am intentional. I'm going to pick up my kids at 2 o'clock today. That's an intention. I am working with Nicole today. That's an intention. I am, doing this journal today. That's an intention, right? We have these intentions that we think are intentions, but they're not. They're just daily things that we do to survive as human beings. But when we look at the world through an intention, where it changes the way that we're seeing and perceiving the world around us. Okay. So we're going to go through some journal prompts. And then at the end, we're going to come up with some core desired feelings that we want to bring forward for the week. What I like to do is, if we're not seeing each other for, another 6 days, I will choose 6 because I'd want to have one each day to feel and work through. Because when you start to know the feeling and when you start connecting deeply into your intuition, you will be able to look back and go, oh, she's exhibiting a feeling of strength, of freedom. Oh, she wants freedom, or she's looking for freedom. I know how that feels. I can hear it in her voice. Or when you're in a space where you're like, this is not working for me. This doesn't feel good. You can pull from your dictionary of words and go, oh, right now I need to feel like a badass. I remember how it felt that day. Boom. And you drop, and it's like it drops into you, or you drop into it. And then you're pulling your shoulders back and you're working from that space. But when we don't have anything to lean into, to like, because we haven't experienced it before, we don't know how to react in situations or how to show up the way that we need to show up. And some core desired feelings are words like lovely or gentle or all knowing. Do you see? So it ranges from the soft to the forceful and bold and everything in between. Okay, so now let's close our eyes. All right, so let's just take some deep breaths. And as you're breathing in, I want you to allow this beautiful golden white light to come in through your nose. And just imagine that it's a mist that's in front of you. And this white mist has these beautiful, like shimmery sparkles in the mist. And as you're breathing this air in through your nose, I want you to imagine where this mist is going into your body. So as you're breathing it in, imagine this mist going up into your brain. And it's circulating and it's flowing. But this mist has magical powers. This mist is all-knowing. And this beautiful mist that has these sparkles of radiance and joy is here to serve you today. So as you continue to take these beautiful, slow inhalation, calming breaths. Just bring this mist and allow it to travel throughout your whole body. Allow it to pause any place where you need just some extra love. We're slowing ourselves down. We're letting go of any constraints that are holding on to us. These constraints can come from our friends, our family, our environment. It can come from the demands that we face. Just allowing this to let go and just to shed from your consciousness right now. To just continue to feel into your body, slowing down. And as you're breathing in and out, I want you to imagine what just this gentle, loving exercise that you're doing right now for yourself. I want you to imagine that your blood pressure is lowering. That as you continue to breathe, your body is coming back to self. And that you're feeling heavy and grounded. I want you to observe any thoughts that are coming into your mind. I want you to bring this awareness down into your pelvic bowl, into your womb space. This is the space that we women birth our ideas from. It's what I believe, where we birth our ideas. It's in this space that we're connected to every woman. It's in this space that we're connected to the goddesses that came before us. We're connected into our sexuality and our sensuality. And I truly believe that for us women, this is our space of feeling purposeful. It brings forward our vision of ourselves, our dreams, what we want, who we're going to be. And this space, while it is a space that carries children, it's not specifically for that reason that we connect in, because we also carry life inside of us. We are the movers and shakers in this world. We are the ones that truly step forward. We birth all day long. We give of ourselves all day long. We carry that mother instinct inside of us. And when you're ready, want you to softly open your eyes. That brought up a story that I want to share with you that I read recently. And it's from a book, and I honestly don't remember the name of the book, but it was an interpretation from Mary Magdalene. And she was describing Mother Mary. And what was beautiful about it is in her description, she described Mary as not a name, but as a way of being. And Mary being a mother to mankind, right? And it being a feminine form of Christ consciousness. And that is where the term Mary came from, this lineage of women who were taught the ways of the goddess. And that's where the word Mary came from. So if you had Mary of Magdala, which was Mary Magdalene, which was Mary who came from Magdala, right? And that's why she was called Mary Magdalene. So that wasn't her real name. It was Mary, meaning of most holy, coming from a place of learning that came from Magdala. So I thought that that was so beautiful because so many times we connect in with like Mother Mary from like a religious perspective. And I know for some people, and for me, I did this as well. There was a time in my life where I was like, I want nothing to do with Catholicism. And that means you too, Mary. I don't believe your story. You don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. That's bullshit. Right? I was pissed because she doesn't. There's no way she could. I mean, maybe, but in my imagination, there's no way she could. So going back into that space, and that's what it brought to me, this feeling of like this Mary. So I want you to embody that for a moment as I ask you these questions. Okay. So get your journal ready. So one of the things that we want to go to really quick and right away is, okay, we're going to define where we want to go next. Okay. So we're going to use this as a way of coming up with a bit of a path for ourselves. So the first question I want to ask you is like, so what's the goal? What's your goal? So let's just say we're going to go with the next 12 weeks. So the next 11 weeks that we're together. Like, what is your goal? And this can be something really quick. It doesn't have to be super thought out, just whatever comes to you. And then I want to ask also that you ask yourself, what is your vision? So that's a little different, right? What is your vision? So use your imagination a bit. And it's really imperative that you define this for yourself. What is the dream? What's the dream? We can have short-term dreams. We never allow ourselves to, but we can have these short-term dreams. What's the dream? Make it big. Don't settle for small dreams. The next question is, what will you do? What are you going to do? I want to give you an answer to that. Can I just give you an answer? Instead of you using yours, can I just tell you an answer? What will you do? You will do nothing. You will do nothing. You will let it come. You will be present. You will not do anything. You will not sit down every day and journal. You will not do these things. This is not meant to be work. This is meant to be just you are opening up, you are unfolding. So use the metaphor of the bud that's tightly bound, right? And then it takes a minute. And so this week you're not tightly bound anymore. You've opened up a little bit. You've created space. And as the weeks unfold, the space is going to be able to open like this. And it's going to continue to grow until it's like this, right? But right now we're here. Allow it. Okay. And then we'll move. So there's no homework. You know what I've learned? Whenever you say there's no homework, it makes it more fun to do some homework. So just saying, right? It makes you start thinking, well, wait, maybe I need to be doing something. And so then you're going to do the things that you want to do because you want to do it, not because you feel like you have to. Okay. So the next question is, who will you be? So and imagine yourself through these next few weeks. Who will you be? Like, jot down some bullet points. Who will you be? This is really going to help in you sorting through your core desired feelings. So while you keep writing, I just want to say that there's going to be some incremental changes that are going to happen while you're moving through this process. But the changes do not need to be homework assignments. You're going to know what needs to be changed. So I'm asking you, as your mentor through this, to allow yourself to be open to the information that's coming to you, to not judge it, and to certainly never judge yourself through this process. Okay. So it's like promising yourself for the next few weeks, you will not judge yourself under any circumstances for any reason. And that is hard. But we are unfolding. We cannot judge. Judging is going to stifle the progress. Okay. Once we start judging, we go way back to kindergarten. Like we're like in high school right now. You know what I mean? We're not quite yet in college. Like we're in this place of like finding ourselves. We're just teenagers finding ourselves through all this mess. And we've got all of our friends telling us who we need to be and why are you changing? I don't like that. Because you know how teenagers can be, they're very bold and straightforward with their words, right? And we are in that space right now. So it's okay. But when you start judging yourself, you go back to kindergarten because you don't know any better, right? But you know better. So we're not doing this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you some questions and we're going to move through these really quick. Okay. They can even be yes or no answers. We're going to move through them really quick. But what I want you to do is I want you to let these questions flow. I want to observe you to observe where your emotions sort of get flared and activated. Okay. Because there's a purpose behind this. Okay. Right now in your life, we're going to shoot for right now. What feels unrealistic? What like ideas do you have in your mind that feel unrealistic? What dreams do you have that feel unrealistic? What's going on in your life right now that just feels unrealistic? What feels really greedy right now of you? What feels really greedy? Do you feel unworthy of this future life that you are projecting forward, that you're dreaming of? Do you feel unworthy? Do you feel incapable? Like, seriously, do you feel incapable? Are you feeling any shame around your desires? When you imagine yourself having this life that you are anticipating, like you signed up to join me on this journey, and I know that by doing so, you had this idea of what it was going to bring into your life or what, how it was going to help you move through something. Or, you have this idea. I know you do because I've done it myself. We have this idea of like, okay, in 12 weeks, this is where I'm going to be, or where I want to be, or where I can see myself being. So, my question to you is right now, are you toning yourself down? When you imagine yourself having this life that we just went through and envisioned, this future forward life, how does that make you feel? Like, feel into that. You've gained so much knowledge. You've dove into yourself for 12 weeks. You've like really dove deep. You are having these new experiences, these new way of thinking. You're surrounded by women who want just what you want, even though it might be a little different. When you imagine yourself having that life, how do you feel? And then the next question, the follow up is, if you had this life, what would you do with it? All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into this. Okay. If you were to have this life and it's yours right now, and you could see the person that it would make you, it was like, okay, if I was here right now, I would feel this way. And you can feel that. It's like, feel it viscerally in your body. Is there anyone, or okay, this is the question. If I said to you, if I gave you this prompt, there's no way that I can be that person because, is there anything that comes up? There's no way you can be that person because I know when I was going through this, I thought, there's no way I can be this medium because I have so many wounds. Like I don't think that I can do this work because I even said, things like I'm too empathetic. I have so many wounds, or, people are not going to like me, or I know that I'm going to be judged and I'm tired of being judged. And a lot of things came up for me. So is there anything that comes up for you? And then ask yourself this: who are the people in your life that have encouraged you to think this way? It's important, like we need to name them. Like, is it our parents? So one parent in particular? Is it a friend? Is it someone in school? Is it your mother-in-law? I know, Tiff. I know, I know, I know, right? We have these people in our lives that have made us feel certain ways about ourselves. And we can't just say, fuck them, because it's a reality. It's real. We really do feel it. And the more we just say, forget them, or it's not helping us. So let's bring them to the surface right now in this space. We're bringing them up. What's beautiful too is like these people that have brought this up, it's like they have encouraged you to not believe in yourself. Like literally, people have encouraged us to not believe in ourselves. It's fascinating if you look at it from the perspective of, it's not like, well, they don't believe in me or they've said things negatively about me. No, it goes deeper. They have literally tried to encourage you to not believe in yourself. And it has worked. So we're looking at it from that perspective and we're like, hold on. Like, where is my autonomy in that space? How am I allowing this to enter in? Right. But we do, because other people's opinions of us hold a lot of worth and value, because we're human beings who live in a society, and it is what it is. And for everyone that's like, I don't believe that, no one bothers me, please, that is so
Let's
not
be real.
Let's get exactly. So here's the thing. Now I want you to write down, what are some reasons that you have right now to not believe them? I can totally go on a rampage with you right now, Tiffany. Totally
You're gonna make me cry.
I can,
I have to send you a message, by the way. Um,
I-
I reached out to my brother-in-law the other day,
uh-huh.
and he told me, and I laughed so hard, and I cried even harder. And he's like, I want to apologize for my entire family. And he goes, for everything you've put up with. He literally says this, Nicole. He goes, you deserve a war medal for the amount of shit you have battled. And I just like died.
Uh,
And it was the first time in 2 years after Joe talked to him on the phone. First time in 2 years, Joe didn't drink and drive home. And I just reached out to him and I was like, I owe you the biggest hug. And he's like, I love you and don't let anyone change you.
I'm
I'm
getting
like,
emotional.
I know, I'm sorry. I just had to say it because you're like, I know, you're like, you know me.
Oh, that is so
I'm
beautiful.
sorry.
Oh,
No,
don't
But
apologize.
oh,
No.
what?
that's what we're here
Oh,
for. Don't apologize.
oh, it's just a big hug for you right now.
Yes, yes.
So, and that's really my reason that I know not to believe them, because I have you amazing women now in my life, and my husband obviously stuck through all of this with me for 17 years, and it's just, oh my god, jab to the heart.
Oh, I love that so much.
So yeah, I'll send you I screenshot it, and it's like, oh my god, I need to put this on the wall.
So for real, you really do like cut it out and tape it on your computer so you can read it every day.
Yeah,
And that's why we name. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that with us.
absolutely. I meant to send it to you the other day and I totally forgot.
That's so beautiful. It's like when we name like these naysayers in our lives, and when we can look at it from this perspective of like, this is what they encouraged, this is how they encouraged us to be this way. And I mean, my husband does it to me all the time, to be honest. Like he said to me last night, like something like, you're mean. You're so mean. And I thought to myself, my first response was, that's all you've got? So bad. That's so bad. I was like, mean? That's all you've got? And but it that would have been I didn't say it. That was my first response to it. But it is, and it's said in a way that I've always been mean, and then you're always so mean, or something like that. And it started a bubble inside of me. And then I was like, no, no, that's not true. And I mean, and truly, when you both ever meet my husband, he's the sweetest, most gentlest, kindest human being, except when it comes to me, because he can be totally himself, right? And so he just says his words, just like I say my words, and that's what we do. But it triggered me because I thought for a second, I'm not always me. And I was like, Nicole, stop. You're going back to kindergarten. Stop. You're being so ridiculous right now. You're allowing that to seep into your pores. And it was just meant to like bounce off of you. It was just in this moment, right? He was mad. He was upset because I don't even remember why. But it was so ridiculous. I remember why. Because he kept coming into the bathroom as I'm taking a bath in my tub soaking. And he does this every night. And he comes and he opens the door. Are you done yet? I'm not. Close the door. Are you done yet? I'm not. Are you almost done? I'm not done yet. This is every single night. And every night I say, I will tell you when I'm done. Now, why does he need to know that I'm done? Don't know, ladies, because it's not like he's coming in there after me. Don't know. Okay. So I said to him, I was like, stop coming in my bathroom. And he's like, you're so mean. You're always mean. And I was like, okay. Okay. But in my last house, and I didn't do it in this house, I'm so upset. In my last house, my bathtub had its own room. It literally had a door to that bathtub that I could lock, and that will be happening in the next bathroom, the next house we build, because I'm like, this is something that's just like a habitual thing that the man always does. Okay. But the thing is that it's like I could respond to it, right? Or I could, and I did, but I could take that you're always mean and go, well, Aubrey and I had an argument today. Okay, I was kind of bitchy today when I did this, or I could like replay that in my mind. Okay, and I could say, okay, thanks for the awareness. Let me go. And that's what I did. I was like, thanks for thinking of myself. Thanks for the awareness. And then I went into Aubrey's room and I was like, hey, was I fussy today to you? She's like, a little bit. I'm like, I'm sorry. Today was a fun day. You got your driver's license. It should have been really fun. I'm sorry that I was a little bitchy. And I could use me being in a stressful situation as an excuse, but I'm not. I'm just saying, I apologize. Right. And then she says to me, well, you just used it as an excuse. Because I said, I could say I'm using it as an excuse because I had a stressful day. And she says, well, you did use it as an excuse. I'm like, she's coming back at me with the things that I say, right? That I say to other people. What was great about it was that it gave me it was like, I was like, you're right. I don't have to explain that way. But the observation, so instead of going back to kindergarten, I just took it as an observation. And then I worked my way through it, right? But if we are not aware, if we keep pushing the people that really push our buttons, or the people who say that we can't do what we are set out to do, if we keep pushing them away like they don't exist and pushing them away and not talking to them and leaving them over there and that is not helping us. We don't physically have to have them in our presence, but when we can have them in our minds, and we can look at it from a perspective of, why are they encouraging me to be less than? You can see with clear eyes that this is nothing to do with you. It's so crystal clear that their impressions are not about you. You're pulling up something inside of them that they themselves struggle with. Maybe you're reminding them of someone else in their lives. Maybe you're bringing them back to a moment when they didn't stand in their truth, and now you're standing in yours. They can't fix it, so they want to squash you down. It's human nature. We can look at it as a form of like mirroring, right? It's like people show in the mirror, but it truly has nothing to do with you. Okay, so remembering that part of it is, and that allows you, it'll be easier for you to bring in these thoughts of, you know, why aren't they encouraging me? Why are they discouraging me? Why are they, bringing this part of themselves into my life? Why are they judging me this way? Right? And when we go through that process and we look at it as as what it is. Like you could simply say like, well, it's because she doesn't like me because, um, I am standing in my truth. And this is why she's discouraging me. Right. And then the healing part of it is to look at the reasons you have right now not to believe what they have to say. So maybe in the past you can say, or maybe you can dig things up from your past and go, well, this is why she doesn't like me. I can see I was this way then. You're not that way now. Even if it went from last week to this week, you have changed somehow. There's a little part of you. So you're not that person. So we have to come up with the reasons why that's no longer true. Okay, so remember that. Remember that part. So here's the thing is that, and this is where we're going to go into core desired feelings, and we're kind of over time, so we'll make this quick, but because you can keep diving into it. But from the questions that I asked you, I want you to intuitively conjure up 6 words. And when you do it, and even if words are coming to you right now, I don't want you to judge them. I just want you to write them down. And they could be any word that elicits a feeling. Write them down. And then every day you're going to pull from that word bank a different word. I'm going to do it with you. And we're going to move through the world that day with that word. Right? Write it on your hand. Write it someplace that you're going to see it. I can remember when I was doing this way back then, and I'll do it again, is that I had those little index cards or flashcards or sticky notes, and I wrote that word and I put it on my mirror in my bathroom for the day. I put it on my computer if I was going to be working, stuck it to there, and I always stuck it in my car on my dash because I'm in my car a lot during the day. So it's just a constant reminder that even when I'm going into stores or around other people, I'm constantly being reminded of that word. And then that's when it eventually just came onto my hand because it was just a constant. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Ease and flow, easy homework, ease and flow. We're just going to be present, we're going to be aware, and possibly if you feel up to it, share your word for the day and how it made you feel, or what new experiences or emotions came out of it. All right. Okay. All right. I love you, ladies, and we're gonna miss you today, Petra.
Oh, I am a bit itchy about all of this, but my heart is with you, and I
Thank you.
will next session I will be joining, even if it will be even later. I'll be in Bulgaria, but I'm calling in.
Okay, perfect. That's exciting. Mwah. We'll see you next week.
Oh, I love you. Bye
Love you.
bye.
Bye.